Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Well, guys, it is a little cooler out here than it was yesterday morning. It is actually windy and a little bit cold. And plus, my neighbor's over here. He's still building his pool, so it's probably going to be a bit noisy there. But oh well, what can you do? Well, guys, lots of things happening in the world. First thing I want to say is my heart really goes out to the folks down there in Florida that are really suffering through this hurricane situation. It is really, really bad. Beyond that, guys, I've been reading a bunch of articles on this whole gas situation in Europe and the Nord Stream 1 and 2. Well, apparently it turns out that I guess, the Minister of Defense in Poland, I think, or something like that, has literally laid the blame totally at the U.S. feet. And on top of that, you find out that Russia actually turned off the taps literally about 24 hours before the whole thing was done. Then you see that a deal was struck between the European Union and the United States for the supply of gas, also about 24 hours before they blew it all up. So it sounds like to me, guys, that there was some knowledge there and people actually knew what was going on. And then an article this morning comes out that says the United States is the largest net supplier of natural gas to Europe. I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. These folks will take any situation, utilizing it to their advantage to literally squeeze the very last dollar out of the circumstance. I mean, they would literally push this envelope to allow half their population practically to be frozen out. Meanwhile, so that they could get in on this deal and have all this gas being pumped over from the United States, shipped over the United States into Europe. Now, a lot of folks say, oh, well, that could be, no, come on, guys. We've seen this before. Look, in the Gulf Wars, we were told about all kinds of weapons of mass destruction. Did they find any? They did not find one. And how many of us sent over sons and daughters who laid down their lives in that conflict for something that was an absolute lie? Now, I'm not saying that the leader over there wasn't an evil bastard, because he was. But the fact of the matter is, guys, these politicians and these bigwig leaders around the world, they really don't give two hoots about how these decisions that they make affect us, the rank and file of folks, the guys that are actually making these economies run. No, hey, look, we are the gears. We are the nuts and bolts of this economy. We're the ones that actually do it. Those are the guys who are out there pulling the levers. That's who's pulling the levers. And they really don't care, as far as I'm concerned, how this affects us. You've got half of Europe that's going to face one of the worst winters that they have ever faced. And meanwhile, they're doing everything they can rather than resolving this situation and try to come to some terms where, they can have this gas flowing in from Russia. No, we're going to benefit from it. And I'll tell you another thing, guys. Don't be surprised if some of these politicians or their spouses or their kids, if it doesn't come out that they somehow invested in the absolute right companies just at the right time, before all these deals were struck, and have just made multiple millions on their investments, because, hey, that has happened way, way too many times. I mean, seriously, right before the sea dump, how many of these politicians or their spouses invested into Zoom and stuff like that, right? Now, it just gets under my skin, and really, really, it is sickening. It is absolutely sickening in my view. Now, another thing, guys. So the Bank of England has certainly come out and gone full bore with their new quantitative easing program. And you're going to see the European Central Bank follow suit. You're going to see the Bank of Canada follow suit. You're going to see the Federal Reserve follow suit. Now, guys, I want you to really, really pay attention. This, in the short term, is going to feel like, relief. But in the long term, it is going to, they know exactly what they're doing. These economists are not stupid. This is going to cause the eventual and total collapse of all of our monetary systems. And don't be surprised, guys, and I think it's going to start with the Bank of England, but if the Bank of England does not, within the next 2-3 months, have a run on the bank, Watch and see. Now, I don't want to see that. I don't think any of us want to see that. But I think you're going to see such a liquidity crunch that people are going to be lined up outside ATMs in England trying to get money out of the bank that is not there. So if you got a few bucks in the bank, you might want to haul a little bit of that cash home. If you were me, that's what I'd be doing. So anyway, that's something I see coming down the pipe, because that's what they're heading towards, an absolute total collapse of the monetary system and a liquidity crisis like we have never seen. And it will be bad. Now, of course, guys, they are going to flip those switches. They've got all the infrastructure in place. It's practically all ready to go. And you know that they are going to flip that switch, and we are going to be moved over into a central bank digital currency system, and of course a blockchain-based system. And in the short term, they are going to try and shake you out, believe it. And that's where we got to stand strong and just not allow our emotions to get played the way these guys will play it. Remember, guys, they are ruthless. They've been at this game for centuries, and they know how to play it a whole lot better than you and I do. And they have the resources to win like in ways we don't have. That's why I always say, look, I'm not a whale, but I'll stack my pennies next to their dollars, because, hey, look, I don't listen to their advice. I follow their behavior. That's what you got to do if you're going to stay ahead of this game. Anyway, guys, I sure hope that you have a great rest of your day, and say a few prayers for those guys out there in Florida that are really suffering through this natural disaster right now, this hurricane. They truly need it. And look, our video will be a regularly released video, will be coming out later on this afternoon. Until then, I sure hope you have a great day and take care.